Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So normally there's like a start stream button, but apparently YouTube decided to change the rules yet again. So here we go. Um, yeah. So anyway, this is the show where we take comic books in the past week, recap, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations, books to come out this week we think you should pick up. Of course, we're still in the period of time that if you're watching this after the fact, is long past and is weird, and people you don't believe that it was nearly as extreme as it was when it was happening, but believe me, it was. Where there were new comics, and but we were on the cusp of getting new comics, and the show will become relevant again very shortly, but we're trying to be as relevant as humanly possible by talking about a very specific topic that is like up to the minute, could be undone
Constantly changing.
during the show, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about that because it's kind of interesting. It's longer than a tweet, and so I feel like we should really get into it. But before we do, I wanted to mention this show is sponsored by viewers like you. You want to keep us honest, allow us to have our own opinions. The best way to sponsor the show is to use the super chats and to share your comments or your questions, suggestions, whatever in those super chats. We'll read them here on the show, and that'll be our little back and forth, our tit for tat, so to speak. You'll be giving us a little bit of cash, we'll give you a little bit of screen time, and we'll that'll be how the exchange works out. Like these fine people. Like Mr. Vinyl Fish Stick, who says Silent Tiff's face is 1 second into the stream, which was very accurate. Silent Tiff's face is 2 seconds into the stream. Hey, that's very true.
That's exactly what happened.
A regular viewer of the show
you know what's
knows
up.
how the show operates.
Every time.
So there's a lot of stuff going on. So let's go down the list, because we could just jump into the DC thing, but I don't want to do that because there's not a lot of context and people are going to have a lot of questions.
Sure.
So let's jump into what the idea here is. So DC Comics the other day announced they're doing a new distribution plan that also includes Diamond distribution. If you're not familiar, the only comic book distributor for the last, I'd say, about 15, 20 years has been Diamond Distribution, a single distribution house that handles all the books across the publishers to every comic book retail outlet. So since the coronavirus, Diamond has closed their doors along with everybody else, with the exception of Marvel and DC Comics, who are still producing books. They're not printing the books, but they are still producing the books. So they closed their printers, but everyone's still working, everyone's still producing. So since there are no books to be printed and no books to be distributed, the retail outlets are also closed. This is also in conjunction with the stay-at-home order and the essential business closures.
Sure.
So retail outlets can't sell them.
Non-essential
businesses. And Diamond can't send them anyway. So that was where we were. For a good 3 weeks, no new comics. And then DC, and during this time, we ourselves have been talking about alternatives.
Yes,
and in fact,
what could be done.
Right. And in fact, we've been discussing this for a long time, and I've heard many people, comic book retailers, comic book customers, and people outside on the fringes of the industry saying, why would you put up with that? In fact, isn't Diamond a monopoly? And aren't monopolies a violation and should be broken up? The reality is, if you make enough money, you don't have to deal with it. And if you don't make enough money, you also don't have to deal with it.
Right.
Like if you're a celebrity, you don't go to jail for murdering somebody. And if you are a small enough entity where money can be made from you, you don't actually have to worry about monopolies. So actually, I remember there was a lawsuit against Diamond that was in the works to break up their monopoly. And the courts were like, that's not enough money. Who even cares? What are we talking about here? So, Diamond was unfettered and allowed to do whatever they want. But I remember being like, why? Everyone talking about, like, why are they allowed unchecked access? Why? Where's the alternative? Well, DC Comics stepped up and was like, yo, here's an alternative for you. And so they announced they were going to have 2 bi-coastal distributors. The idea being that there will be 2 different companies which are owned by the same company.
I thought they weren't.
Aren't
I thought one's owned by Midtown
Comics.
and the other one's owned by a totally different company.
I think you're right.
It's called like DCBS, which I think is an
Oh, yeah, that's right.
name.
Yes. That's right. I'm sorry. You're totally right.
Discount Comic Book Service.
Yes, Discount Comic Book Service.
One is servicing
the West Coast,
which I think is the Discount Comic Book Services.
It
and I
is.
think Midtown is servicing the East Coast.
That's right. There are those 2 distribution houses are called Lunar and UCS. I believe that Lunar is handling the DCBS West Coast, and Lunar is working with Midtown on the East Coast.
Well, no, UCS
is working with Midtown to service the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So those two outlets are kind of came out of nowhere, and they are working with DC Comics.
Now, their parent companies have experience with mailing comics.
Yes.
Too. They handle a lot of direct mail lists for, I think, DC, especially Midtown does.
Yes.
So they have some experience.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's different experience.
Right. And in fact, if you live in an area where your local comic book store is 50, 100 miles away, you probably have bought a lot of your floppies through Midtown Comics or through DCBS. So
sure.
Odds are you've received their books before or used their services. Maybe you didn't even know. So that was the idea. And DC announced that they were going to be distributing books to retail stores starting April 28th. Mm-hmm. New books will be starting to come in, and they'll be distributed through those two outlets and Diamond, if Diamond were to get their act together, which they plan to. Diamond had said originally that they were thinking maybe August. Mm-hmm. After this move, the next day, Diamond announces actually more like mid to late May.
Right. Okay.
So, but Diamond's not being cut out. The idea being that like there could be, you have three options.
Yes.
To get your books.
Yes.
Conceivably.
Right.
And or presumably, I should say. So that was what DC said. Also, that DC has announced that through those two distributors, books will be arriving on Tuesday.
Yeah, in order to make it more equal across all of their distribution.
That was their line, yeah.
Which I don't know if that's saying like they feel like people who have digital get them first, and so they're trying to...
Right, they shouldn't be, because it's still day and date digital and physical.
Right, so, like, I don't know. Or maybe it has to do with how quick... I don't know if a lot of comic shops can't facilitate that for some reason. I thought most could.
Right.
I know our local stores tend to take Tuesday off, or I've heard that before.
Yep.
They close Tuesday so that they get all their books in, they can put them out on the shelves.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so now they'll have to come in Monday.
Or they'll still get them on Tuesday.
Or they'll get them on Tuesday, and they'll say, we'll just wait until Wednesday to put them out.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, what if they still get them on Tuesday, but that's just the release day, too?
Right.
It's like when you get them, you release them.
Yeah. I think that there's no limitation. You know, normally...
Well, we'll see. This is kind of an ever-changing and ever-unfolding situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So... that is where we are.
To center myself.
That's where we are right now with that. That
yes.
was where that announcement came from. But the implication was that new books will be coming out on Tuesdays.
Right.
Which, by the way, is a good incentive for you to take the other distributors, because if Diamond's still operating on Wednesdays, you get new DC books early. Now that being... And DC's the only ones putting out books right now.
Seemingly.
And that's the funny thing, is that's the first roadblock. That's the first bit of criticism we hit, where retailers and customers alike were crying foul and saying things like, well, if you're sending me these books on Tuesday, who cares they're coming out on April 28th? If my store's closed, what am I supposed to do with this stock?
Yeah.
But I also remember them complaining when Diamond closed.
Yes.
And I remember them complaining when Diamond said that they would, instead of mailing books to retailers, that they would alternatively mail them to retailers' houses.
Yes.
So I don't know how people can be pleased by this program.
I think there's a couple of factors here, and we're going to talk more about the actual plan.
Yes.
But I just want to kind of right off the bat say that there's a couple of problems here. One is that each store is in a different position than any other store.
Well, especially depending on where they are.
Yeah, depending on your location. So, like, for some stores, this is going to work out well for them. It'll be something.
Right.
You know
some books will be coming out, so people could buy them from you.
Right, and other stores are going to see this as, like, there's nothing I can do about this right now because of the situation that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, on a case-to-case basis, to some people, this is a terrible idea. To some people, they're like, okay, cool.
Right.
I think also the problem is that, like, this situation is so unique and affects literally everyone in a different way that it was impossible to have seen this coming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's no planning that was put into this, because how could you but also they never had a contingency plan for anything.
Right.
Like, what if Diamond had a fire?
Yes, exactly. That's the thing, is that, and that's the real, if you want to lay blame, it's not at people for not having a COVID-19 plan or for not, in terms of the comic book industry.
Yeah.
It's more that, like, neither publisher nor retailer nor distribution house had any kind of contingency plan if one element of their machine didn't work.
Right, or if they do or they did, like, it has not been executed appropriately.
No, with
because I don't want to say that they
with
did
leadership,
it, because I have no insider information on Marvel or DC or Diamond. So, like, maybe they did have a plan, but they have not been executing it in an effective way.
Based on the behavior of both outlets over the last year, in light of things that have occurred, Kevin Feige becoming chief creative officer, Dan DiDio being fired from DC, and now this, there is absolutely no plan in place at any level for these companies because they've never done anything. There was barely an announcement of Kevin Feige doing that. What is his role? Will he be like telling people what to do?
It's true.
What level is he influencing the comics? Dan DiDio. Was he fired? There's still no official word from the company. Jim Lee saying something during a con does not constitute an official statement from a company, which is what we're accustomed to as consumers.
Right.
And this is just another element of it.
So, like, there's a lot of factors to this, and, you know, it feels like one of those situations where kind of no matter what happened, someone was going to be upset because everyone's situation is so unique and different now.
Especially because while consumers are upset because they can't get their books, publishers, distributors, and retail outlets are upset because they're losing revenue and could be losing their livelihoods.
Yeah.
And that's the real concern, and it's the other reason why I think there's an urgency, or why it's frustrating when there isn't a sense of urgency. Because it's like, we are talking about people's livelihoods and their dependency on some leg from this table. And I'm not seeing any leadership on any front save DC and save this week out of a month-long process or more. And the leadership from DC is them kind of half-heartedly announcing they're going to be doing these things. Like, there's no announcement, there's no statement. It's just Newsarama says this. By the way, if you want to know, there's links in the description. Not to the Newsarama article, but rather for the digital distribution thing we're going to talk about later.
Sure.
But, like, I'm seeing it from comic book news outlets, not from DC saying, like, here's our plan going forward.
But that may be just how they feel they can best get their information out there. Like, maybe they found that, like, more people are actually looking at those sites, and so perhaps that's the best way for them to do that. Again, we're not on the inside, so we don't know.
No. But at the same time, we're also not getting, like, any clarity. We're just left with this.
Yeah.
Especially when we find out that, like, there are responses between these companies. You know, like, I read, what was it? So, you know, DC announces the distribution plan, and then Diamond, like, has to refute the discussion about it. So, on Friday, DC mentions the direct market has changed, and they're going to do this.
Yeah.
And Monday, Diamond says, today, they sent their retail partners saying, breaking news, DC does this. And then they said, you know, on Friday, they canceled orders for April 18th, and then they said, officially, we're going to still offer DC comic products that are offered to the direct market through our visual solicitation, our usual solicitation, FOC, and reorder process. But
going forward, when they're reopened. And I think that's just because the other article didn't mention if Diamond would. And so, like, I
think it's because there was no official announcement from anybody.
Sure, but I mean, like, that is, you know, at least Diamond being like, hey, wait.
Yeah. Oh, just in case you were wondering,
hey, wait.
Here's our statement on that.
Roll this back.
So DC says, okay,
we need to do something.
No one's getting their books.
Yeah.
And we have books that are just sitting in warehouses unsold, not to mention the books that are produced and on flash drives and ready to be sent to printers.
If they're open.
Which they're not. And
it depends. I know, like, because of my job, I know there are some print shops that are still working. I don't know how.
Probably through Skeleton Crews.
Yeah, but they are still working, but it's at a reduced pace. So it's like, if you need something, it's going to take 2 to 3 times as long to get it.
Yeah. But if DC are the ones who are saying we're going to be producing books, and they're the only ones, then even the delay should also maybe put them out on time. particularly because of the very limited rollout that DC is doing. And that's the thing, is that people are really freaking out, particularly about, like, DC being like, we're putting out books, here we go.
Yeah.
You hear that and you think, like, oh, Batman, Superman, Justice League, like, death metal. No. Like, Batman itself has been delayed until June.
Yeah.
The new issue of Batman.
And, like, that must have been I can imagine that was a difficult call all around.
Sure.
Because, like, DC's like, that would make us money, but that's not fair to everyone who can't open their doors. And that, to me personally, says that DC thought about this to some degree. That it was like, some of these shops can't open, so, like, we can't put out our big sellers because, first of all, we know we're not going to make the numbers on that.
Right. And that's I think that's the biggest reason.
But, I mean, also, like, two, like, we're going to be screwing over some individuals who can't open their doors right now.
Right.
And so, like, the release list that they did put out, I saw some people saying, like, at least they're doing something. Is this going to, like, alter my entire business and save me necessarily? No. But what they did say was that it would keep reader interest, because that's what they're worried about, is that, like, not only will they not be able to pay their rent because they don't have that income coming in, but that when they are able to open, that readers won't be coming back. Yeah,
they won't have an outlet through which to contact other people and say, hey, we're back now, you can come back and buy these books. I see. So that's where DC is.
Yeah.
Where DC was yesterday.
Right.
Now we're on today, and in a world where you can't talk about new books, but we do talk about the industry, every day is a new episode about something, and undoes the last episode, which is kind of fun. But let's jump into some super chats really quick, just to make sure that we've got everybody covered.
Got that?
T.Y. Vauchier says, hello from New Zealand, love the show, keep up the good work. Thank you, T.Y.
Hi.
Really appreciate it.
Welcome.
Matt Draper from
Matt.
The Matt Draper says, just wanted to say thanks for taking part in the At-Home Comic-Con and redirecting your super chats during your panel. You're the best. No problem, man. Happy to do it. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. If you haven't already seen it, we had a great time this past Saturday at Home Comic-Con, which was in your living room or pocket. You don't know. You can just pull it up right now. But go to youtube.com, visit at Home Comic-Con. All the panels are available on their website.
Yeah, go check them out. There are a lot of good ones. They did a great job, and it was all for charity. They raised, I think, over $7,000 for the United Way. So it was really good charitable. What's the word I'm looking for? A good
cause?
Yes. I was like, outlet? Not the right word. Cause.
Silvery Cricket says, I'm sure DC and Marvel were quite eager to find a new printer when they got told they weren't getting their deposit back. Yes. By the way, I don't want to correct you because, I'm a stickler, but I want to say their printers are their printers, they're distributors. But yes, that's the other thing that I didn't mention in this particular topic, but have mentioned in previous shows and topics, is that Diamond stopped paying their bills and then announced a new payment plan that they came up with themselves and initiated without any colleague discussion, in which they were going to be paying 25% of their weekly bills and deferring the other 75% down the road for the next 6 to 9 weeks.
Well, okay, but at least they were going to be paying something at some point and paying it back, presumably. Because, again, they probably are trying to pay off their employees as well simultaneously, and you can't do that if you have to pay everything back to someone.
Right. But if I'm
not saying that, hey, that's fair, because you are also robbing the pockets of other employees from other companies.
And you're also a monopoly. Like, if there's an old saying, I don't remember how it goes necessarily, but it's about power and responsibility. But the fact is, if you're a monopoly and you want the responsibility of being the only one, then you don't get to cry poverty when, literally 3 weeks worth of bad business takes place. Jeffrey Candolo says, glad to hear from you guys. Really brightens up my isolation. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. You guys brighten up my isolation, I gotta tell you. I was really looking forward to doing the show again. Heartless Fang wanted to drop in and say hi while I work on the film history classwork. Ooh. Loved the panel where you were a part of a few days ago. Thanks for checking it out and being there. And good luck on your film history class.
Yeah.
We got a celebrity in the chat right now. Jason Gruner, a.k.a. Proto Clown. Love everything you guys do. Love everything you do, my friend Jason. Hope you're doing well and hope you're healthy and safe.
Yeah.
We got to hang out sometime again, so, dude. Come to Jersey and we'll do a thing.
Well, when it's safe.
When you're safe, when you can travel again, when everybody's knocked.
Also, you came up recently.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Keep an eye out for an upcoming Good, Bad, and Ugly. But I must warn you. You must have a strong heart and resolve. You must have a warrior's heart to watch that episode. Kenneth Dowling says, "Hey, Sal and Tiffany, missed you guys last week. Hope you all is well. You program my new favorite start to the week. Keep on trucking, baby. You keep on trucking, Kenneth. Thank you so much." Josh McTurner helping us out with some poop. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
And TMNT Guy 55 watching you guys while getting my 420 on. Love y'all. I forgot
right.
It's 420.
It is 420.
That's right. So toke it up if you partake.
And it's okay.
Yeah, when it's legal, right?
Just.
But yeah, so DC does this, right? 2 distributors. Everyone's already freaking out. Everything's on fire. Oh my God, you're you know.
Well, we literally went from like what is going to happen to they might go digital first to we're not going to have any books. 2, there's going to be a completely different ordering system. 2, that's not the case at all.
Yep.
To radio silence to this.
Yes, that is a good timeline of what we've had happen within about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
And again, I want to keep this in mind that it's like, it seems like a ridiculous amount of up and down, but this is an unprecedented event that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so when you have larger companies, there's typically a lot of people who pretend like they get the opportunity to make a decision.
Yeah.
But a lot of times someone takes that as like, oh, that's the final decision, even though 6 other people have to hear that decision.
Remember Comics Pro? They were like, hey, we got it!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh, we don't!
Yeah.
Within 24 hours.
But, and again, that's not me absolving anyone of guilt here, but like, I like to keep that in the back of my head that this is something that has not happened here.
No, the comic book industry hasn't seen anything like this in a long time, if ever, and the fact is the comic book industry is already so tumultuous and so, I don't know, small and insulated that, like, and affected by everything, that it's just blown in the wind. Like, it doesn't have a chance to plant its feet and grow roots and say, hey, you move. You know, it's just going to get thrown around. So they're just helpless to respond if they can. But yeah, so that's what they did then. And then, are we caught up with everything until we get to the digital?
Yes.
Okay, so then, today, DC announced an expansion of DC Digital First and the addition of DC Essential Reads. So this morning, DC announced the expansion of DC's Digital First program, in which they're going to be releasing 1 new comic book, and by new I mean it's going to be a single-issue reprint of a original story that was found in the 100-page giant from the Walmart DC line. Per day, per character. So every day, you can download, for a fee, a new digital DC comic book. Again, I think, like you said, just to keep people aware of the brand and consistently getting used to the idea of buying comics.
Right.
These characters, under no surprises, include Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, The Flash, Aquaman, Swamp Thing, and DC Superhero Girls.
Right. So that's like an attempt to keep young readers.
Absolutely. The DC Superhero Girls thing is a no-brainer.
Like,
I love that plan. I think it's genius.
Well, because like how many kids have their own tablets?
Right.
So it's like it makes sense for them to be able to get that there. 100%.
Yeah.
This is where I could definitely see retailers like being like, okay, come on.
Right.
Because it's like...
Yeah, this is where the retailers are really going to freak out.
You're giving us some printed books, if you can even open, if your mail service will let you do that. Because that's another thing, too.
Yeah.
The mail service in different areas are going to let you do only certain things at this point.
Well, and even if they do allow you to mail it, it may be delayed because it's not essential.
Exactly. And some places, I think, like, specific styles of mail they're either not taking right now.
I imagine media mail is probably delayed.
I think it is. I follow a couple of artists online who like had to close their shops down because they can't mail things out because the post office is not going to take it right now.
Yeah.
Because the post office is inundated, and I'm sure they're not working at a full staff capacity.
No doubt.
But I don't know that for sure.
I would not be surprised.
So
you've got
these retailers where it's like, I'm going to get these books that are not top selling books.
No, and literally one of the books that is coming out in the first week rollout is the last issue of a poorly selling Sandman run.
Right. Now, you may get people who have interest in that because it's like, finally, I'm getting this last issue. I really just want to know how this is all going to come to a close. So you're probably going to get the sales from that. But if your store wasn't selling that book well, that's not going to help you necessarily. No. I could imagine them seeing this as kind of like a, come on.
Yes, this is I don't know if I call it a slap in the face, because I am a proponent of both digital and physical.
I am too.
But you look at these, and yeah, it's the top selling line, and just the consistent. You know, you got Jim Lee, you have Robert Venditti, Amanda Conner, Jimmy Palmiotti. Like, you have some major creators here on some top books that...
Now, are these stories that people may have already read?
Definitely are books that people have already read.
And so, like, maybe they felt safer in releasing these as digital, because it was, like, more than likely people have already read these. They weren't going to come and buy these.
Well, I think it's more like...
They weren't going to risk their safety and health to come and buy this.
I think it's more that they were like... We know that we can argue that they're old, so
sure,
whatever.
Right.
But also, you know, I remember when the Walmart books came out and retailers thought that they were being stolen from, and then a year later or less, individual issues of the two biggest books from those were released to good numbers. Yeah. I don't know if they were excellent numbers, but like Superman Up in the Air or Sky or whatever the hell, and Batman Universe, like those two books, they got the Walmart books, which sat in a bin under Yu-Gi-Oh cards for like a while. Then you had them individually, which sold regular numbers. Then you got the hardcover books, and you got the trades coming out too. So you got 3 different opportunities for retailers to make money from those books that were made for a thing that they all thought was going to steal from their coffers and straight up didn't.
Right, and this could be another example of like DC in the mentality of, our digital readers are not the same as our physicals by any means, and we don't think they're going to go over and buy those digital books.
Right.
Like, we're just trying to keep our digital readers reading.
That's the thing. I think that they are just... I think it's not just appeasing digital readers, but I think it's more like just keeping the brand out there. Because, like, look, if you have DC Universe, an app that you can get that has shows and stuff like that, and books, but not exclusive books, just books that are out there, you're already sold. Because you're going to use the app, the shows have been made, they're coming out, you have the app. If you're a Comixology purchaser, you're probably not going there very often unless you saw there was a crazy big sale going on. Hopefully you caught it. There was a big Marvel sale, a bunch of trades, saving like $130 worth of trades. I have no skin in that game. I just like people getting free books.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like, this is a consistent reminder that there are DC comic books out there. Like, please remember us. Because DC, unfortunately, is not a sales leader. And that's another thing. Right. And I think it's another opportunity for DC to take charge and try and muscle in a leadership role. Because if you look at the market, at the very least at the 2019 market share, it was not 50-50.
Right.
You know, and of course there's also everyone else that takes up the rest of the pie, but like, it wasn't even 60-40.
Right.
And that's pretty bad for the company that owns a character who always is in the top 5. And if he has multiple books, occupies multiple slots in the top 5. Like, if you make Batman and you sell 3 of the top 5 best-selling books and you're still not the industry leader, you're doing something wrong. And I think this is an opportunity for DC to say, like, hey, we are an industry leader. Not only do we have the top-selling book, but we also are innovators. We're trying to come up with ways to get you your books.
Yeah, and that's a thing where it's like, regardless of how this pans out, because this is one of those situations where literally only time will tell what was the right decision.
And I think and we'll get into predictions in a minute. But
but what I'm saying right now is that, like, at least they're doing something.
And that's the thing that I really appreciate. Even the digital thing. And the thing is, it's because I remember talking to multiple industry professionals. In fact, tomorrow on Elseworlds Exchange, which will not be live, but it will be a premiere. You should definitely check it out.
You should.
It's one of the biggest episodes we'll ever have this year.
Like, block out an hour of your time.
Watch it. It's great. But talking to industry pros who work exclusively for DC, I know for a fact, and I think it's fair to say, that, like, they're still put to work. Marvel too, but, like, DC pros, they've been working. Yeah. And they had the 5G thing ready to go. There were books that were made. 5G ain't happening no more. At the very least, 5G ain't happening to the extent that it was going to be happening. But those books are still being made. Those are still sitting there ready to come out. You also have the other books that were going to be coming out that they were already working on. They never put a stop to work, so they're still producing books. They've been producing more books than ever before. Right. And so this is a plum opportunity for them to go, we could probably release 3 of them a month.
Yeah.
Like, digitally exclusive, and just... Because they did it before. DC did it with Injustice, and to much acclaim, and much surprise, and much financial success.
Yeah.
But this could have been an opportunity for DC to say, like, no, we're trying to help everybody, but legitimately, not necessarily objectively, but at least arguably screwing over retailers by saying, like, here are some books that literally were ready to come out that will only be coming out digitally right now, and we'll print them up later. Like, they could have made this whole digital thing a real screw to retailers, but instead it's just reprints of the Walmart book. You were already mad at us about the Walmart books, so here they are again digitally. Like, whatever.
Right.
We're not really taking out of your money.
And again, it could just be they're looking at the statistics about, like, you know,
digital
readers versus, like, you know, going to the store, brick and mortar, getting your floppies.
Which arguably you could say, by the way, and we've looked at the numbers, and the numbers are sketchy because they come from the same sources that people say are sketchy anyway, but arguably the digital is not at the forefront.
Sure, but again, it could just be that they're just like, you know what, a digital reader is going to read digitally, and a physical person doesn't want to transition, and so, like, this is okay for right now.
Right.
But again, for me, like, this is so, I'm literally about to say, like, one of the biggest cliches.
No, but, like,
ever. But, like, this to me feels like one of those situations where it's like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes.
Because even if they miss with this, at least they tried something.
Yeah.
Like, DC did something to try to, A, keep themselves afloat. B, try to help out the retailers who can still get comics to their customers.
Yep.
And C, like, keep readers going.
Yeah.
If they can get them.
Well, and that's the thing that, like, I am disappointed in Marvel for not trying to be. But I also have and I'm just going to talk. It's not a big prediction. It's not. I don't want to get into predictions just yet. But my expectation is that Marvel will not say a thing until Diamond starts distributing again, and the books that were going to come out 3 weeks ago will just come out.
Yeah, and that could be.
From Marvel.
I think what upsets me about not hearing anything from Marvel is that, like, we hear about some of their creators, some of their exclusive creators doing really, like, benevolent, kind things.
Yes.
And it's like, you're letting them
handle this.
You should be doing
something.
But
that's them to a T. And that's the comic book industry to a T. Or the publishers, at least. Where it's like, no. Like, on a microcosm level, if you produce a book for yourself, like, independently created, your options for getting that book to anyone are, you can make it a webcomic, you could work out a deal with other independent publishing labels to try and help offset cost, or at the very least get distribution out there, or you could self-publish. Those are your 3 options. When you take any one of those 3 options, the burden of promotion is on you. It's your job to get people excited, promote the book, get people to buy it, convince people to buy it, show people why they should buy it, and that's understandable because there is no marketing team. Even if you're working with smaller groups like Action Lab Entertainment or whatever others, like side label, like, you're still producing the book essentially, and they're giving you some space to put it out there with a established company's label on it. But, like, they're not going to pay money to promote your book. They're just going to let you promote the book as best they can and make those books available because they have a relationship with the one distributor out there.
Right.
But it seems like that's the exact same MO that Marvel and DC have, because any time that a significant book comes out, or that a fan favorite but not AAA title character book is coming out, there is virtually no effort put into its promotion. Right. It is up to the creator themselves to put themselves out there and put boots on the ground and get the word out.
Yeah.
Like, until you become a Donny Cates or a Scott Snyder. Like, I saw a commercial for Batman: The Last Night on Earth, and I think it was on television. I've seen it on YouTube, and it's a commercial. You don't get to be that until after 10 years after you've created Court of Owls. Like, he created Court of Owls, and there's no fan. Just, here's the book.
Yep.
Go tell people that they should buy it. And it's like, you have a marketing department. I don't understand that. And yet, when you're like a Marvel and you're trying to appeal to different demographics and you're reaching out to everybody and you're showing what a benevolent organization you are, and then one of your exclusive creators is like, I paid off someone's entire, like, comic book store's pull list.
Yeah.
You might want to, like, I don't know, send a, like, you know, ask them to shoot something, put it up on the Marvel YouTube channel or their Instagram or wherever the hell, but there was nothing.
Yes.
Radio silence across the board from Marvel, whether it's about the industry or about benevolent works from your exclusive creators or anything like that. Marvel's just like, whatever. Just call me when Thor 4 comes out.
That's what it feels like. I mean, maybe that's not correct.
No, but that's
like because you're not saying anything.
And that's the thing, is that, like, when you don't, it's like Michael J. Fox in An American President, where it's like the people are thirsty. They're dying of thirst, and they're in the desert, and they'll go for anything. They'll go for a mirage, and when they find out it's a mirage, they'll drink the sand.
Yeah, that is what it's like. But like, I was just thinking about that. The recent online auction, the Creators for Comics.
Yes, Creators for Comics, which we were a part of, by the way.
We were, and thank you guys so much for that support. That was amazing.
Big time, thank you.
But then you look at the people who were involved in that and the people who started it. It was Cami Garcia, Brian Michael Bendis, Gwenda Bond, Sam Humphries, and Phil Jimenez or Jimenez?
I say Jimenez.
Okay. Several of those people have ties to DC.
Yeah.
Jim Lee was a big part of that.
Yeah, Jim Lee drew exclusive sketches.
That's not to say that Marvel creators weren't a part of it, but like that feels like a DC push.
It really did. Yeah, when you look at the roster, it's like that's pretty DC. In fact, on the DC Universe app, I believe Humphreys talked about it on his show DC Daily.
Right. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not. I can't be.
But it really it's just startling to me, the lack of response from an industry leader.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's frustrating as all get out to see what are supposed industry leaders by virtue of what?
Yeah.
That you get to publish Spider-Man, that you happen to own those characters,
yeah.
like, because you're not doing anything as an industry leader to warrant your leadership outside of being the steward of characters people buy. And that's frustrating as all get out.
Yeah.
Like, so we'll get into more in a minute, but let's jump into some more super chats because there are plenty of them.
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys.
Yeah. But I should mention the Creators for Comics thing. We did do that, and it was a really, really great opportunity to, you know, shine a light on a worthy charity and also to get some you know, some input from the audience, because there were a lot of we auctioned off on Twitter, and I got a lot of people saying, like, why didn't you do it on, like, Facebook or Instagram or YouTube? And it's like, it originated on Twitter. That's where it stayed. I can't move it over there, and we're not industry leaders in terms of being able to make that big a splash and get people to do it. We could have done it ourselves, but it wouldn't have gotten nearly as much exposure as us being part of a bigger collective over there. I'd love to do something again. Hopefully we will. But when it comes to that, we auctioned off the opportunity to pick a back issues book.
Yeah, like...
There were some stipulations that were applied. So
yeah.
you're not going to be seeing Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose anytime soon. But we did...
the first foyer out, like, we wanted to make sure that, like, we were, you know, especially for a charity.
Yeah, we covered our bases. But, yeah, so we did have we had a great response, and they bid all throughout...
Yeah, which was so, like, flattering.
Weekend.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, but yeah, the winner was picked.
But it was also really cool, like, to scroll through that hashtag. I bid on a couple of things. I was outbid.
Yeah, me too.
It's fine.
Yeah, but I will say, incidentally, and I don't remember who it was that said it. I think it was Bendis who said, if you go through that hashtag, it's like walking through Artist Alley.
Oh, it really was, because it was like... So many artists came out, like, from, like, big names to, like, new up-and-comers. Like, just anyone could be a part of it.
Yeah.
Anyone could be a part of it, as long as you just followed, like, some of the rules of, like, how you got people to, like, donate at the end of the charity, the auction. But it was really fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think Jim Lee's doing, like, a 60-day, like, drawing thing or challenge or something. I'm like, that's nuts.
I know.
And some of the work he's producing is...
Oh, it's some of the best of his. It's some of the best
incredible.
That you've seen recently.
Well, I mean, when you're drawing like that every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. But there were so many artists who took part.
Totally.
Jock was part of it, I know.
He was.
Chip Zdarsky was willing to write you an erotica fanfic.
Yes.
It's like...
Which I did not even bid on.
By the time I got to it, I was like, I can't afford this.
Yeah.
But still awesome.
Still, yeah. West Morris says, love the at-home Comic-Con. How do you think Image will handle this? Also, how do you think DC's marketing will handle this sensitive issue? I think that DC's marketing team has learned that radio silence is the, like, new normal. They're just announcing things and then leaving it alone and letting people work it all out. Image will follow what Marvel and DC do. Unfortunately, they're not big enough for them to to actively impact the industry. They can't afford to take a side or take a stance or go one way or the other.
They're terrified to do anything over there.
They all are, unfortunately.
Their marketing team seems to be like just petrified by fear, and I get it because it's like if you've put out things where it's like you got like a negative response, like you don't want to do anything. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I did like it was like such a like good job me like style like commercial or ad because I've had a little opportunity to watch more TV that like Frito-Lay made about like everything that they're doing during this time, and it was like it wasn't about like selling product and it wasn't about like all this other stuff. It was just about like how they were trying to give back to the communities and how like each of their plants in different like cities were giving back.
Right.
And I was like, that is so ballsy.
But it also is a great marketing plan because it does show you, like, you think, oh, Frito-Lay, I don't normally think of them. And hey, maybe I'll think of them in a more positive light now.
For me, I was like, oh, damn, that did everything you wanted it to because it stuck with me. Regardless of how I feel about it, it stuck with me.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, damn, that's just you saying, look at how awesome we are.
True.
Like, we're helping people out. What are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine if DC or Marvel came out with like a PSA like that, where it was just like maybe just clips from some of their like top brass being like, hey, right now this is what's going on, and like we want to stand with you, like comic book stores and like readers, and like this is all new.
Yeah.
And like the fact is we don't know how to proceed, and hopefully we do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, they could easily do that.
Just be honest.
But they won't do that because Marvel released a video recently and it's like the most downvoted Marvel video they've ever made.
Oh,
so, like,
did they? What was it?
No, I mean like before. I just mean like we're looking at they're all looking at, they're all cheating on each other's papers.
Well, yeah.
So like they're all looking at it and Marvel just was like, hey, we're making a book. Here it is. People were like, get out of here. And it's like that was just a puff piece like promo video.
Right.
And they're like, we don't want to do anything
but
that will draw any negative attention whatsoever.
I feel like this is the time where you get the pass.
Yeah, and
you get a pass. Just go for it.
I'm sure someone screwed up. Nilfreddy Gaming says, Bendis on Elseworlds? Love y'all's work. Maybe. Kenneth Dowling, correction, your program has become my favorite start to the week. Got distracted by a phone call. Don't worry about it, Kenneth. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Meow Nian says, Sal, great redesign. New 52 Ryan. Oops, wrong show. Go check out our at-home Comic-Con panel where we talk about redesigns. Jason Inman came back. It was like he never left.
Such a great episode.
Ollie Rogers says, do you feel like the industry is inevitably headed towards digital with physical encompassing trades only? It's hard to see floppies living forever. I don't think floppies will last forever. My thing is, I would have said yes if I hadn't seen the numbers. And looking at the...
And if those numbers are...
Even if the numbers are conservative,
it's
so damning that for me, I'm like, no.
I think that they will go on for a while.
At least 10 years.
I was going to say until paper becomes so expensive that like it makes a comic like unaffordable.
Yeah. Does it make sense to me for Marvel and DC to go full digital, full international digital?
Yeah, that would be
same
nice.
Price across the board, and make every book available. Keep those numbers to themselves, and then release those books in trade hardcover and on-demand floppy? Yes. That's what I would do if I were running the industry, but it would also destroy the retail outlets, which is why I'm not running the industry, amongst other things. But like, if I were a newcomer to that industry, that's what I would think to do and try out. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Right. Because it would offset so much cost, it would allow you to make so many more books, and it would allow you to open up to a whole new audience. You're talking about putting, and I'm an advocate for this too, like putting books in CVS's, Walmart's, Target's, everywhere you can get comics. But we're talking about putting them in drugstores, and I'm talking about making them available in your pocket, like in everyone's pocket, everywhere. Like that, there's no way you can avoid them, and I feel like that's inevitable. But I think that like the industry is also so interconnected and incestuous that like they will cut off their nose to spite their face. They will hurt themselves financially to support another arm of their industry because they simply don't know anything different and they fear it.
Okay.
Rebel Friend says, hey, Sal and Divinity, do you think Marvel will do something similar to what DC's doing with this digital tourist idea? No, I don't. I think that
I think they're just gonna do something. We're not gonna know. It's just gonna happen.
Here's the thing: if it was a runaway success, yes. But otherwise, absolutely not. I think that the only thing that Marvel will do is they'll make their promo codes for Marvel Unlimited a little cheaper. Like, hey, this month, now the coronavirus, like post-vaccine, now the coronavirus is a thing of the past. You're ready to get back into the swing of things. Why not do that with 25% off of your Marvel Unlimited purchase?
Yeah.
That's what I expect. Because it's what, like, McDonald's or Coke Zero or Coca-Cola would do.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Daniels says, thank you for all you guys do. Stay safe. You too, man. Thank you so much. Gorgonfish, I'd love for DC to create more digital-first ongoing series like Injustice or Bombshells. They're cheaper, and they don't have to fit into continuity or crossovers or events. I agree with you, Gorgonfish. I think that's the way to go.
They'll just bring back the Elseworlds label and just shove it all on digital. Be like, if you want to read an Elseworlds book, just go over there.
I think that's a great idea anyway. I think they should do that no matter what. Hell, start with Tales from the Dark Multiverse. Just make that a digital-only universe. Mongoose the artist. What is 5G? Nothing. No, it was a publishing initiative that was inspired by and propagated by Dan DiDio and others at Marvel Comics and probably their parent companies. I'm sorry, DC Comics and their parent companies, which was going to change the status quo. They called it New 52 2. Jake Fitch says DC Marvel could be using this time to get 3 to 4 months ahead of the release schedule and stop future delays. That's what I assume they were doing.
And they might still be doing that.
I think they are.
I'm really hoping that future releases of like actual books that, I mean, we have actual books that are presumably coming out, but like some of the bigger titles are going to be the best edited that we've ever seen.
Right? Yeah, I'm very I'm very hopeful, if not optimistic, about that being the case. The fact that both Marvel and DC creators are still creating makes me feel great.
Right.
Because maybe we won't have many delays. And in fact, the industry can't it can, because clearly it can, because the industry is literally supporting each other despite, like, profits.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it would be a mistake for the industry to allow for significant delays of their AAA titles when those titles are available again. Like,
right.
Can you imagine if, like, Amazing Spider-Man gets delayed by a month?
Yeah, they can't.
Because
everyone's
July.
gonna be like, what the hell are you doing?
Like, what were you doing for 3 months?
Yeah. This is the time for someone to approach Gary Frank with a book. Because...
Yes! Yes! Hey, Gary! You better be done with that Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 by now, Gary! Or at the very least, you better be on page 6! Come on! That's true. He should be working his ass off on Batman Volume 3. Theodore, I already own the Swamp Thing one physically from my local comic book shop. It's really bad.
Aww.
We can get these physically already. It's fine for them to be digital now. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. But I guess the reason I said that earlier about, like, comic book stores being upset about that is because if you didn't, that's the only place you're getting your big, like, title characters.
Exactly.
And so, like, that could be like a...
Yeah, it's not, it's not that it's a brand new story that like, people can enjoy. It's all about, a new Batman book. New to me.
Yeah.
Kenneth Dowling helping us out in a big bad way, but unfortunately no message.
You.
Sorry about that, Kenneth. Vidal Ruiz with an adorable, looks like a corgi.
It's a Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu, saying, how's it going? It's going great. How about you, man? Thank you very much.
Shiba Scream.
Ben Wilson, just showing support. Grateful to wake up to a new Off the Rack. I'm glad that it's back. We took a week off. I released GBU instead. If you haven't already watched it, watch GBU. We talk about the new status quos back in 1993 to 6 for Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern.
Justice for Scorn.
Yeah, good old Scorn. By the way,
I know, he's totally cool. I
looked
him up.
Yeah, he's a hero. He sneaks into Clark's apartment, puts on a Superman costume to show people that he's a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really sad.
I hope Superman felt like a real jerk.
He definitely did, because he looked like that for too long. So every morning he looked in the mirror and was like, I feel like a real jerk. Also Scorn. Wes Morris says, do you see that 5G being an Elseworlds title or digital exclusive? No. I see them as being Black Label books.
Yeah, that's like their favorite place to shove it all.
I don't know what to do with this. Let's make it a Black Label because it doesn't mean anything anymore. Ha ha! God, thank you, Scott and Greg, for making this thing.
The one thing I like about Black Label is the allowance to break from format.
Yes.
I know it could drive you crazy if you're trying to store them, but, like, I love that break.
My thing is, I wish they did it more. Like,
Me too.
Like that Wonder Woman Dead Earth book is big,
Yeah.
but like, what the hell, Batman Last Night on Earth?
Yeah,
what the
maybe
hell?
Capullo just didn't want to do it, or maybe it wasn't originally going to be a Black Label.
Well, probably not. No, I think they were kind of the impetus behind Black Label in the first place. I know they were talking about it since the beginning.
Well, yeah.
Kenneth Dowling, back. Thank you so much, man. Says, just bought Amazing Spider-Man 275 and 276. I love old Spidey comics. He fights the Hobgoblin. He's not my favorite Spider-Man villain. He's not so insane like Joker. Just a super criminal. Also voiced by Mark Hamill in the 90s cartoon. That's right.
Yeah.
He basically does his Joker voice, but like he's a little less unhinged.
Which Hobgoblin is this?
If it's 275, it's probably Mackendale. I'll have a look, but like it could be any number of Hobgoblins. I mean, it's usually Roderick Kingsley, even if it's Ned Leeds. But you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you're checking it out. It looks like it's Kingsley. If you
I was just wondering
if you
because
aren't,
I know.
Oh yeah, there's
Hobgoblin
he gets around.
He gets nuts.
Yeah. If you aren't like already, you should definitely be delving into your back issues.
Yeah.
And revisiting old stories or trying to find some stuff that you haven't already read.
Yeah. I've been like really just randomly reading random floppies. Which is like the worst way to do things.
Yeah. But I do love it because then it takes you down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I bought you 6 trades today.
Did you really?
Yep.
What are they?
They're all indie. Doom2814 says, is the future of a Netflix-style digital model where you pay a fee and get all the content? A lot of people are clamoring for it. A lot of people have been clamoring for, like, why isn't Marvel Unlimited just a Netflix model for every Marvel book? And it's like, because they can't afford to alienate the retailing market.
Yeah, and I don't think they can afford to do that.
Yeah.
To, like, I don't know. I feel like they can't, like, that subscription fee would have to be pretty high.
Yes.
For it to equal out.
And it wouldn't, because like it would alienate the retail market and they'd freak out and you'd piss them off, and they're your bread and butter right now, so it would just be a bad move.
Yeah.
Ray Mux says, what will HBO Max do to DC Universe? I would probably say absorb it like Akira.
See, I said I thought they would try to keep them separate for a while because like they might be able to get 2 bites from the same apple.
Yeah, I think they're right, and I think they are going to do that, but I think that DC Universe is financially unsustainable. I don't believe it's making money. And I don't have any data to back that up outside of my own cursory knowledge of how the industry works and how much things cost.
Right. I also feel like the fact that DC Universe does other things, HBO Max would be like, I'm just going to take the shows and the movies and that's it.
Yeah, because DC Universe has like a real fan collaborative experience. They have a lot of shows that HBO Max wouldn't touch with a 10-meter cattle prod.
No.
Forget about it. So, yeah. So that's where we are right now. The digital market is So when DC announced, like, yo, every day is new comic book day with like 7 DC books, I think that is the most progressive thing they've done.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't think it's nearly as problematic as any knee-jerk reactionary might have for it. If you're interested in it, it's in the description below. Click the link. You can check out all the books that are available or will be available for this week.
Yeah.
I love the idea behind it, and you know, it's a neat idea that I think is worth checking out. Although, as I understand it, Swamp Thing, The Beat Goes On is not very good.
The Beat Goes On.
But they spelled it B-E-E-T.
I know how they spelled it.
But the beat goes on. Yeah, am I supposed to read Swamp Thing like Macho Man Randy Savage?
I'm totally buying that and doing that.
360. I don't know, man. But like, I'm excited. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about, where it's like, innovate, do something interesting. Yeah. You know what I'm shocked they didn't go, we're putting it on DC Universe.
Well, yeah, and I got to tell you, this is zero risk for them.
Totally, it's
created content for them.
Yep.
They already have it. There's no risk here.
No.
It's books that have technically already come out. Hopefully, if you're a physical reader, you already picked these up if you had interest. And if you didn't, now's a chance to try digital. Doesn't mean to backstab your local
retailer,
comic book store.
No. But I will say, we're probably going to review some of these.
Oh, sure.
On next week's Off the Rack.
I mean, the fact is, a lot of times for us, like, I'm a both.
Right. I read both.
I'm a both. Like,
yeah, nowadays I'm more about trades than I am about floppies, but I do get, because we do the con circuit, I love meeting creators and having an opportunity to talk to them.
I want the physical. I mean, like, physical. I am also the kind of purchaser that I think the companies must like, because I have books that I have purchased digitally that I'm like, now I gotta go buy the physical.
Yep, I've done that too.
I just bought the same book, same price.
Yeah,
twice.
Same price, F you, but also,
but I did it anyway, you know what I mean? So it's like, there are just some books I want to get physically.
Totally.
Like, especially some of the oversized books.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the first,
Black Label books are totally worth getting physically.
I think so. A lot of first, issues of books that mean something to me, I want to get that physically.
Same here.
So, like, I don't want people to think that we're always, like, promoting digital. Digital, for us, tends to work out well, especially when we have to do a show or we don't want something ruined for us if someone likes to talk about it online or what have you. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta read it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Free Comic Book Day, or not Free Comic Book Day, New Comic Book Day used to be on Wednesdays, and when I had a job, I couldn't go to a comic book store.
No.
Before someone might want to tell me something about a book I was reading. So
right.
it's like, well,
or
I
get
got a
it,
break.
but like, you know, when you go to the comic book store at New Comic Book Day, by like 11, it's packed.
Yeah.
And all the books are gone.
Yeah. Well, not always.
Well, yours are.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, it's a new Image book. We only ordered 4 of them.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And Donny Cates said something about it like on Twitter like 2 days ago, so it's all gone now. But yeah, no, we're not trying to to pick one over the other. I think there's room for both.
I do too.
We fervently believe that there's room for digital and for retail. And I think that it's just about convenience and availability and about access and about advantage.
Yeah.
If you can buy physical and digital, you know, you do. And if you can get only digital, then you're going to. I mean, like, it's all about propagating this industry. And it's like, if you can get a comic in someone's hands, be it digital or physical, do it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if there's an opportunity for, you know, new readership and growth to the industry, you know, a rising tide raises all ships. We will benefit from it regardless.
Yeah.
And the fact is, there isn't a new town that we visit where I don't go to the comic book store in that area.
Are you kidding me? The first thing we go to someplace, it's like, hey, let's like look online to see if there's a comic book store in the area.
Yeah.
And like we have discovered so many great little shops from just doing that. Because it's like we just want to go, want to check it out, want to go through those back issue boxes.
That's
like,
right.
If they went away, you just have cons and you can't go to them anyway. So
right, exactly. So those are dead. No. But yeah. Lucha Dandy says, what could happen sooner, Marvel and DC doing crossover comics or a Marvel and DC crossover movie like Batman Spider-Man? I feel like the comic is easier and quicker because not only are you dealing with fewer working parts and people, but like the reason that everybody argues they won't do it for is because of the parent companies. And the parent companies are film studios that are rivals. So obviously, like, the film studios wouldn't want to directly help each other out. So those would be the quickest, those would be the hardest nut to crack. I think Marvel and DC should have been doing crossovers already, but, you know, I think we'll get the books sooner than the movies, unless you have bigger powerhouses who are pushing for it. Like, the reason why Marvel vs. DC happened, or DC vs. Marvel in '96, is because both editor-in-chiefs of Marvel and DC were best friends who lived next door to each other. Like, that was a big reason why that thing happened. Oh, also because the industry was in the toilet. But, like, they worked together well. The reason why you didn't get why you haven't gotten a crossover since JLA Avengers 17 years ago is because the editors-in-chief back then hated each other. They could have worked together, but they didn't.
Right.
So it's all about camaraderie and friendship, which is really, at the end of the day, the way it all works.
It's all about.
Vidal Ruiz says, doing well, thank you. We need more GBU and older stories and back issues. I love the new stories, but there's something about learning about the older stories. I agree. I try to pepper it in. Yeah. But the new books have been helping us out in a big, bad way, and I'm really glad that we've been doing it. So thank you. And Kenneth Dowling says, in said issues, Hobgoblin doesn't reveal himself yet. He sets up Flash as being the Hobgoblin. Yeah, I like that story. He's dating Shashan in that one. I know his past.
Is that his fake girlfriend?
No, she's real. But she's Asian. And it's like, oh, Flash is dating an Asian girl in 1970,
that
whatever.
sounds like something someone would come off at the top of their head.
Her name's Shashan.
Yeah.
I know that his past and messy. It is messy, to put it lightly. I'm cool with it. Love you guys and what you do. Heading off to exercise. Peace.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah, keep up the cardio, man.
Should be doing that too.
Yeah. And the super casual plebe says, "Sup guys? I was wondering what your thoughts are on what DC is doing with the YA graphic novels like Gotham High and Green Lantern Legacy. I think it could only help. Like, if you're getting the brand out there and you're getting like children or younger adults who are not reading comics, like, if you look at the statistics, children aren't reading comics. Hell, if you look at the statistics, young adults ain't reading comics.
Yeah.
But you know what always sells? YA novels. YA novels is a thriving industry that is that influences all the other industries. Remember that awful Percy Jackson duology? Like, there's 2 of those. Like, there's what's that movie? The Spiderwick Chronicles. There's a movie of that. Like, these children.
I don't know if that one was YA.
I think it was.
I think like Twilight is YA.
YA, yeah. Well, Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, in any case, YA novels are a huge industry that makes a huge ton of bank, that brings in a ton of people, and it creates, it builds up industries and it makes money.
Right.
Why not? You can make
Why
Batman...
not YA?
Right. You could make Batman like gay and he's sleeping with the Joker in that book. Like, I couldn't care less, because the other thing about it is it's so big that it makes money, but it's not so big that it influences the books. So
it's
like,
that's not gonna like transition back to there, but what it will do would be like, essentially make money for DC to then publish other things that maybe they normally wouldn't. You know what I mean?
It would embolden them. We talk about on this channel where it's like, boy, I wish we could do that book, but we're not big enough. It wouldn't make money. It wouldn't do the numbers we need to sustain ourselves. Like, if we were bigger, we'd be able to experiment and try more things. Such is the case with anybody in an industry where they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
Like, if DC was just tripping over themselves with money from their Gotham Academy or High book, Gotham Academy, I don't know what you'd call that, but I really like that book. But Gotham High, like, whatever, who cares? Like, but if it makes bank, then DC gets to do whatever they want. DC could bring back Vertigo and produce all kinds of crap. And hell, if that book were sold in bookstores and it like paved the way for more graphic novels to be more prominently available in everywhere else, maybe more other books could be available in bookstores. I mean, like, the fact is more books are available. Graphic novels are available in bookstores already. But like, normalizing comics in non-comic spaces.
Yeah, it's nice.
The super casual plebes said that already, so thank you very much. Vidal Ruiz, because of back issues, I bought a physical copy of Irredeemable Ant-Man. Nice. My favorite character that I love to hate next to Guy Gardner, which is my dream DC versus Marvel story. I would love to see that.
Oh my god.
Guy Gardner gets to come back in another GBU. Check it out. It's coming up soon. Jake Fitch, right now it seems like a great time to do a crossover and give all the profit to charity. Yeah, they're not going to do that. Like,
no, but now is a great time to start a crossover so that when stores do reopen, there's a hot book on the shelf.
The thing is, both Marvel and DC creators are still working, right? They're still working on their books. Those books are going to be ready to go. But like, you're not going to have that extra 2 or 3 months back to put all those books out, and you're not going to suddenly start shipping tri-weekly or tri-monthly, So what you do instead is you have a portion of those people work on the DC versus Marvel crossover. And that's like the main book and all the tie-ins. That is probably I'd call it 10 artists and writers, so 20 people total. Everybody else working on their main books, and other people can like double dip because Bendis and Snyder would be happy to do double dipping and write like 16 different books at once. Right. But you have that in your back pocket. So because right now, when like these 5 books are coming out from DC, it's a market tester. But it's also, and they're not testing it with a Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman or Justice League book. They're testing it with like the End of Sandman or whatever the other one was called. But like,
there's actually a Black Label book coming out.
There is
another one.
But they're 2. testing it with these other books that are like already niche. So what they could do instead is be like, okay, so when everything's out, like when everybody's open, boom, Marvel DC, so that fills the gap.
That would be awesome.
Right.
Who would you put?
What?
On the book.
Which book? Marvel vs. DC?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I was thinking, you know what? You need one of each.
Right, like John's probably, but like DC wouldn't want to put him on there because he's an independent entity. Like, realistically speaking, they wouldn't call him, but I would like to call. John's loves to do like a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
So
I've got like a terrible idea, but that like I've got like you take 2 from each side. Yeah. Right, and you put them in a room together. And then they'll never produce anything, my team here. No. I'd be like Bendis. Yeah. Snyder. Right. Zdarsky. And Cates.
Oh, yes.
They're never going to write anything.
They would never get anything done, but like that would be an amazing team. I would read that in a heartbeat.
Because like I'm hoping that's like someone can control some of the things we don't like from Bendis.
And Snyder.
Yeah. And same, you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, you look at, actually, you know who I pick?
Who?
Like, Al Ewing.
Okay.
Zdarsky.
Okay.
And like Snyder and Johns.
Okay.
Like that would be my pick because you get something like No Surrender out of it.
Right. How about instead of Snyder, you do Johns and Tynan?
Yeah, Johns and Tynan would get it
Because
done.
you get some of the...
You get the Snyder influence, but without full Snyder.
Well, he's working on something else.
He's very busy.
He's
a
working
busy
on
man.
Metal, so...
Well, not only that, he's also working on that independent book that he's going to do a show out of.
Undiscovered Country.
So he's very busy.
So I'm saying, like,
but yeah. But I would love that. You kidding me? Come on. Yeah, but treat it like No Surrender.
Yeah, and then you just got to get an artist that can.
Yeah, you get the people from No Surrender.
Fast.
Just put them on it. That book came out on time,
and
it's a beautiful collection. You get Mark Brooks to do the covers. Gorgonfish says weekly manga issues have been digital in the U.S. since 2012. In the past few years, lets you read the 3 most recent chapters for free. They make most of their money in volumes and trades.
Yeah.
Stefan Sejic says that trades are a unappreciated big plum in the sales market.
They must be, because when you think about it, let's say if you're just a person who's trade waiting, you're just getting that trade on its own. So there you go, right? Yep. And you might think to yourself, yeah, but I mean, they do discount it a little bit for the issues that are in there. But oftentimes, how I get trades is I buy the first and second issue, and then I'm like, all right, I missed some. I'm just gonna grab the trade.
Yep.
So now I bought the trade,
and I have a couple of issues. You dropped, what is it? Probably $10 to $15 on the individual issues total, and then spent $25 to $40 on the trade or hardcover if you didn't have time, if you didn't want to wait for the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's money to be had. So that was our conversation about the market. It's very interesting. There's a lot more to crack. I'm sure it'll be rendered irrelevant by tomorrow.
Well, who knows?
Hopefully you're enjoying the episode anyway.
But we wanted to hang out with you guys for a little bit, switch it up a little bit, check in with the population, see how you guys are doing.
Yeah. You should see, by the way, I want you in the comments down below, if you are watching this after the fact, to check out, to let us know what tie-in you want to see to the DC versus Marvel crossover that's coming out. That's not coming out.
Yeah, the one that we...
The one that we just pitched. But, what's the tie-in? Because you can't just do... You do these versus Marvel, but you gotta do the pairings.
Yep,
because that would make you so much more money.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's a creator who was drawing a bunch of, awesome-looking DC Marvel crossovers. It was Vasco Georgiev?
I think it's Vasco Georgie, maybe the 5th?
Oh, Georgie the 5th? Maybe.
I'm not sure.
In any case, Vasco here drew DC Marvel crossovers. He did 4 books.
Yeah.
He did Poison Ivy Mystique, Harley Quinn Deadpool, Starfire Gamora, and Superboy Rogue, because they both wore jackets. Not only are the covers industry-level quality, but also the synergy that he built with the current corner logo for DC's publishing incorporated with Marvel is the thing they need to do.
Yeah.
It's so good, I'm going to hold it up to the screen. I hate to do this, but look at that. The synergy on that is... I'm like, that was like it's meant to be. It was incredible how they did that.
The only thing I would change would be the crossover font.
I like that. But maybe the font, but I really like how the work, because you're supposed to put a little tag down there that says whether it's an event or not.
Oh yeah, I would workshop, but everything else above that I'm cool with.
It works so well. but check that out if you haven't already. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Let us know your tie-in. Michael the Third also has a comment, but
I feel like what's so just this is off topic here. I'm tangenting us basically talking about this Marvel DC thing. It's just how much these companies have to know that people want these.
Right. Yeah.
And how much it's
nice?
and how much either it's that the legal elements of it is such a hindrance that for them it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Or the fact that
there's no way.
Maybe we don't think we'll make enough.
I think it's neither.
Which blows.
It makes me
mind.
crazy, but I've seen it.
But it's
know.
For them, it's this is it is and it isn't, but it's almost free money.
Yeah,
because it's
free
not
money.
Taking the slot of another one of your
exactly.
books.
It's just extra money. It's literally that was my whole pitch with the IDW thing. Is Marvel DC. You make those books. You're not pulling creators off of books they would be making for you.
Yeah.
And it's a book that wouldn't exist at all. Mm-hmm. So it's just this thing, poof, that makes two groups money that came from nothing.
Yep.
Whereas if you do nothing, there's no entity that makes everybody money.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about ego. It is just That's all it is. I promise you that. People tell me, Disney doesn't want it. Disney couldn't care. Disney lets IDW make Spider-Man comics. Disney couldn't care less about that shit. It's literally all about ego.
Yeah. No, I know. But it's I feel like if anything comes out of
this,
COVID,
that's positive.
I would hope that it would be the fact that it was like, we really are like in this all together
We're in this together,
here,
yeah.
and the fact is like,
based on the moves from DC, I'm thinking no. Because I was really hoping that it was going to be very collaborative, but DC being like, yo, we're doing this, we're doing that, Marvel being like, whatever, I don't know, like, says to me that no one's working together.
Right, or I'm going to give another, like,
look at
possible scenario where they did go to Marvel, and Marvel was like, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Or they just didn't hear anything back, and it's like, well, we really want to do this, so we're going to.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like... And I mean, like, it would be crappier of them to come out and say that they offered it to Marvel and turn them down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's actually nicer than doing that. Yeah, he's not doing it. Yeah, it's just being like, we're doing this, and who cares what Marvel's doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man.
But I would hope that at the end of this, like, both companies would be able to, like, look at themselves and look at what, like, the readers want and look at how they could help the, you know, physical outlets, the local comic book stores, the digital outlets as well, by doing this event, this thing that people have wanted.
As it turns out, retailers have a big voice in the industry. Like, when they, like, pitch a fit, the publishers listen. Maybe they should pitch a fit about that.
Yeah, be like, you need to give us something when you guys come back out, and it can't just
it can't just be a new freaking Scott Snyder event.
Right, or it can't just be, like, just the books that...
were going to come out last week.
Right, because it's like, if the shops are worried about people not returning... giving them a big thing like this that will get news coverage.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that, like, when DC versus Marvel came out, there was a big press announcement at Planet Hollywood of all places, and it got like big media attention, like and a trading card tie-in. Yeah, there are trading cards of the Marvel DC crossover, including amalgam characters. But like you can, it would be a great way to get them back. As they're, like, walking out the door. Like, oh, never mind, I'll come back. Because, like...
Yeah.
At the very least, from speculation. Mm-hmm. And listen, we know they're not against taking speculator money.
Right.
Because Batman and Catwoman didn't get married. Okay. But they still had what?
Oh, sorry, I got their name.
Oh, good. Because Batman and Catwoman didn't get married, but everybody still went to the midnight premiere and bought all those variant covers, and then turned the page and went, oh, you lied to me.
But there's also something about that, like, hype and that, like, being a part of something, which is, like, going to be needed when we can safely gather again.
Yeah, because there's nothing coming out right now that is hype worthy.
Well, no, I mean, like, just that interaction, that feeling of community, because we have it now, like, we're in a community right now, and, like, this is how we typically interact with you, but, like, people go to the local comic book stores to chat with people, too, and so to have something that came out that you could have, like, a midnight release of, and to have people safely, when you safely can, to have them show up together, regardless of, like, what the book is, I guess, and, like, be like, hey, like, let's, like, we're getting this all together, and, like, we're going to read it, and oh my gosh, and, like, this isn't the normal time I go to the comic book store.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be said for that, and it's a great opportunity, to be sure.
Yeah. A couple of people asked who the artist was, so I went to their website to kind of clarify. It is Vasco Georgiev.
Georgiev.
VASCOGEORGIEV.
See? That was a V.
Check him out over on, looks like he's got,
Twitter, probably Instagram.
Tumblr?
Yeah, it's Tumblr.
Oh.
I know.
Looks like Twitter and Facebook.
Michael the Third says, off topic, but why are there evil versions of heroes better than others? Like the Maker, Batman Who Laughs, Steve Rogers. Love the show. Why are some evil versions of heroes better than others? I don't know, because like some characters are more interesting. Like just doing a mirror image of a character is not always the case. Like it doesn't always work.
I think it comes down to the creator who's behind making the evil incarnation and what it is that they think makes the character. And if they're not quite spot on, I think they miss. Yeah. Or if that isn't compelling enough, they don't do something else to it.
Exactly. There has to be something more interesting than just, it's evil so-and-so. DanV900, I have been disappointed by the adventures continue where it's fine. I was so excited for it. Deanie mentioned the Batman Who Laughs in an interview makes me think it's just to cash in on the toy line. It most certainly is. It is a promotional device that is used to sell toys. If you haven't already watched the DC Daily episode in which Paul Dini and the toy designer talk about the book and also the toys and how there's a Jason Todd toy that's coming out that is technically in the Batman animated series universe that they're putting out, check it out because it's very telling about what Adventures Continue is supposed to be. I also read issue 2. It was lame. Rodney Coverdale.
I didn't even know it came out.
Yeah, of course not. Rodney Coverdale says, "You guys rock. Keep the lights on and all that." Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you.
And you are. And hopefully you're liking the lighting. Tiffany did it today. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
And if you don't,
well, then we'll buy new ones.
Don't at me.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it, right? I mean, we've pretty much covered all the bases for now.
We just kind of generally wanted to chat with you guys, just make sure you're all aware of like the fact that this is an ever-changing situation, and that at the end of the day, like, it's only going to solve the issues for some folk and not for everyone, just again because of how different the situation is for each person. I mean, like, if you look at, for example, like the restaurant industry, how different restaurants are handling things differently.
Yeah.
Some just closed down.
Right.
Some are, doing Grubhub and, like, Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Some
with limited menus.
Yes, that we saw one today that's like a favorite of ours. We found out is doing takeout, like, curbside takeout, but their menu is super limited, which means that it's like we clearly have a skeleton crew going on there.
Yeah.
So it's just like, but even for them, like for larger industry like that, everyone is being hit differently.
Yeah. And responding to it differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, at the end of the day, all we can do is just hope that at the end of this, most of our local comic book stores were able to weather the storm and get the financial help that they needed from, the various grants and bank, whatever that is happening right now. I'm not a small business owner, but my understanding is that, like, they are working towards some things.
Yes.
Whether or not it's enough, I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Usually isn't.
No, it usually is not. But, like, if your comic book store is still doing, or able to do,
curbside pickup or mailing.
Like, I highly suggest that if you can, because again, a lot of people are not able to work right now. And so, like, that's another issue as well.
Yeah.
But if you can, support them.
Yes. Reach out to them via Facebook. That's usually the only way that comic book stores operate now for some reason. But reach out to them via Facebook Messenger and just be like, hey, what can I do? I did that recently, and I got a pretty okay answer. They were just like, give me X amount of dollars, and I will send you some stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I can do that.
And they were fun, honestly.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about another... I've done this with 3 different retailers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah. But, yeah. So,
about that.
Vidal Ruiz also says, The Dark Knights versus the Infinity Warps as the tie-ins. I hate the Infinity Warps so much because it's so obvious. They were like... people love the amalgam thing, but can we do amalgam without DC?
Right.
And it's like, no, because it's stupid without DC.
Right.
I thought it was stupid with DC, but that was me as a kid. I was like, this sucks.
They gotta do, like, the Bat family versus, like, the
Spider
characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, you'd like...
Well, it's...
You're just...
Yeah, we're synergistically connected. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Yeah. And, of course, thank you so much for your support. Thank you to everybody who watched and super chatted. We do appreciate it. Thank you for sponsoring today's episode. Yeah. And we'll see you guys next week with an all-new episode, but please stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell for notifications because there's a lot coming out this week.
Especially
we got
tomorrow.
Elseworlds. Yes,
like, that one you're going to want to be around for. You want to get on that episode.
And speaking of crossovers, big old crossover coming out on Wednesday for back issues, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. There's also an Instagram video that ties into it. It's an excerpt from that. You might want to check it out as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much here.
Legitimate. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What?
But no, it's dope. So we'll see you guys next time.
No.
What? There's no clouds, you can tell. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys next time. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.
Bye, guys. Stay safe.